Good morning. If you're catching the replay, make sure you hashtag replay. I always like to know that you're here. It just helps me get to know you a little bit better because I want to know who's following me. Just like you want to get to know me, I want to get to know you. So when you comment, it helps me go, oh, so if I ever meet you in person, you go, my name is Karen Fan. I'm like, oh, yeah, I recognize it. So welcome, guys. Everybody's just joining. All right, let's play this little video. You see that scar on my wrist? That was actually from rescuing a peacock a couple of years ago. Good morning, backup dancers. So today is rescue day, but before I go rescue the peacocks, I'm coming out here to let the animals out and make sure that Dee Dee and Shishi are okay. I'm looking out here. I see Dexter. Where is Dee Dee? Let's go look. Feel right here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a big dip.
And it's so
you can tell.
Tell me why she has not had a baby. Y'all, where Kayla and I are pushing, like her ligaments are completely gone. Like she is open and ready. I'm like, I haven't gone out there to see if she's had a baby yet, but like, I don't know how she still has that baby inside her. So let's continue to watch. You definitely can tell that she is dilated. Baby is in place. It's dropped.
Yeah.
But this right here,
That's a drastic change.
drastic.
Yes.
Now you can't, when she's standing here, you can't really tell she's bagged up. Okay. I was like, when I watched this video, I was like, oh, I'm fixing to get totally beat up by farm people because I said, you can't tell she's bagged up. I said the wrong words. Okay. She's not completely bagged up, but she does have milk. But when I said that, I was like, oh no, here comes the farm people to attack me. But when she starts walking,
yeah, there's milk in there. You can
yeah,
feel it.
you can see that. I wish she'd walk.
Come on, girl. Hey, Dee Dee. Come on, girl.
Well,
Come on, Dee Dee. Come here, Dee Dee. Walk.
And I thought in my head on this when I was like, oh, farm people are probably beating Kayla up trying to get Dee Dee to walk. She's like, pat, 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 pat. I was like, farm people are probably in the floor laughing at Kayla going, oh my gosh, she's trying to get that heifer to move. And she's like, pat, 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 pat. Anyway, let's keep watching.
Walk with me. Come on. Walk with me, girl.
See, when she puts her legs together, it's like you can't see it. But when she opens her legs, you can definitely tell there's a sack of milk there.
Come on, girl.
Oh, look how her tutu's so big.
Come on. Come on, Mama.
She's like, no, I ain't walking.
She ain't walking.
Because y'all want me to walk, therefore I'm not walking. But you can see.
There she goes.
There she goes.
Come on, girl.
Come on, Dee Dee.
Oh, that's good rubbing thing. You need a brush, but Dex so freaked out. All
right, guys. If you have not seen that video, can y'all hear me? Kayla, can y'all hear me? Okay. I have to be honest. I think that is my favorite video that I have put together because when I go back and watch me rescuing the peacocks, it makes me laugh, first of all, to think that I'll go into a stall with a aggressive peacock that flogs people. Like that first peacock that I rescued, he's a flogger. So like I'm not scared to walk into the stall and get the crap flogged out of me. It's just like it makes me laugh to think that I have come so far in 5 years. It's just I love to watch the video because I love to rescue animals and I love that I get out of my comfort zone all the time. And I hope that when you watch the video, because you guys know me so well now, that you're like, look at Aunt Judy in there with those peacocks. Like my story, and you know that I'm a city girl, and here I am going in there with a flogger, not scared. You know what I'm saying? So like I've come so far. I've got to turn the ceiling fan on. Hang on. I'll have a heart attack or heat stroke. So anyway, it's one of my favorite videos. So if you haven't watched the video, I hope that you'll take the time to watch it today. How are y'all doing this morning? I'm tired. Just saying. All right, let's get this party started. So I was sitting here. My cousin that wrote my book is visiting me. She came Monday night. So her and I have been best friends since we were small kids. Like we just, it's crazy that we're cousins, because you would think we were sisters, because we are just alike. Like just alike. Like it's funny because like her favorite things are my favorite things. Like sometimes as we're talking, we don't realize that we have the same things happen to us. Like we were talking about, I had to lay down as we were sitting in the bed talking. I said, I have to lay down. My sciatic nerve's hurting. And she goes, yours hurts too? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, oh my gosh, when I drive, mine kills me. I'm like, no way. So like, it's so funny for us to sit here and like talk, because we're so much alike. Her mom is my dad's sister. Not my dad that lives with me. That's my stepdad. My dad's passed away. So, but my dad and her mom are sisters. And so we've always been around each other, and we've always been like best friends. And I was talking to her this morning, and I was like, she goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm trying to figure out what to talk about. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, when I go live, I talk about things, and I'm trying to think about what the heck's happened to me that I need to talk about. And I was like, I feel like things have been going so fast. Like, I don't even know what's happened to me. Like, I don't even remember what happened yesterday. So like, she's like, I'll tell you what I think you should talk about. I said, okay. So she had sent me, what is this doing? She had sent me this video, really talking about relationships and how the person that you're with affects you. And so I said, well, I'll talk about the importance of surrounding yourself with people that lift you up. So I'm going to tell you a couple of situations that I've been in my life where I've let people affect me and the choices that I've made in life. And, even as adults, like we know, because our parents taught us, right? Our parents said, you are who you hang out with. Like your parents say that, you don't need to hang out with the wrong crowd. So like as an adult, we remember that our whole life, our parents trying to guide us to surround ourselves with the right crowd. But do we do that as adults? What our parents instilled in us when we were young, did we carry that thought through our adulthood? Like, did we choose the right spouse? Did we choose the right friends as adults to surround ourselves with someone that lifts us up? Does your spouse lift you up? And it's like, sometimes, we sit here and we're like, oh Lord, I picked the wrong spouse. He's so negative. He's so negative and he beats me up. But then you're like stuck in a marriage and you're like, okay, I don't want to get a divorce. I'm too old to get a divorce. I'm just going to stick with it because I'm not going through that. Like, we've been together for 45 years. I'm not about to leave him now because I'm just not doing it. We're too old for that. And you find yourself sticking with someone that doesn't lift you up. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to take my glasses off so I can't read your comments. Well, in the video, it was talking about, what is my hair doing? I think it's because I've been wearing a ponytail. Hang on. My hair's jacked up. Okay. So I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about surrounding yourself with people that lift you up, with people that you don't live with, like people, your friends, not your spouse or family members or things like that. We're going to talk about that first. Then we're going to flip to surrounding yourself with people that lift you up when you're in a marriage that doesn't lift you up. You know what I'm saying? Okay. All right. Do I have my curling iron on? First of all, I'm going to tell you about this friend of mine. She was my best friend in 8th grade. I met her in 8th grade, and she was my best friend. This girl, when we became like in 8th grade, I was the cheerleader. I was in competitions cheerleading. I like on Fridays was like, I forgot, I guess you call it casual day. I don't remember what we called it, but like all the cheerleaders wore their uniform to school, or like, our little cheerleading uniform. So like if you weren't a cheerleader, you didn't have a uniform to wear. So like we were like the popular kids because we had our little Raider uniform on, and it was cute, like, so like people looked up to people that were a cheerleader or dance line or whatever you were in, color guard or whatever, because we were the ones who got to do the pep rally. So we wore our uniform because we had to perform at the pep rally. So like all the attention was on us. Well, in 8th grade, this particular girl was not a cheerleader, and I was. So there was a little bit of, I didn't know this at the time. I'm in 8th grade. I didn't realize what jealousy was. And I can remember she would constantly compare herself to me, like constantly. And like everything that I did, she wanted to do. Like she wanted to be a cheerleader, but her mom didn't have her cheerleading. So like when she got to that was 8th grade. But when we got in high school, she didn't know how to cheer because she had never been a cheerleader. Well, I was going to try out for the dance line because I like to dance. And so she was my best friend. She did what I did. So she tried out for the dance line. And we both ended up making it. We tried out our sophomore year for our junior year in school. So she made it and I made it. So we were Valerets together. And it was a constant, that friend that has to be one up on you? You know what I mean? So you know what I'm talking about? Like she'd always have to be one at, like, she had to be skinnier than me, or she had to have the most popular boyfriend, and like it was always like a competition. And I'm not a competitive person when it comes to friendships. I'm not like trying to be up on one of my friends. So like our relationship was always a struggle. I can remember coming home being upset because of the way she was. And when it got to be our senior year, okay, senior year, you're kind of up for who's going to make head Valerette. Valerette is the what we were called. We were the majorettes, but we didn't twirl a patron. We were like dance line. So your senior year, it gets announced at the end of your junior year who gets head Valerette. And I can remember her, competing with me. And like I said, I'm I'm not competing with my friends. Like, may the best man win, whatever. And you don't try out for head Ballarat. This the teacher or the sponsor, like, views you over, the times you're a Ballarat and decides who's going to be picked. So you're not trying out for head Ballarat. It's kind of like she's choosing you. Well, everything that we did, like in high school, like, she was, I was like, our senior year of high school, I won Personality Plus. I can't remember what she got, but it was always something. And like, you know how you have like your head of your class, like president, vice president. She was chaplain, and I was the treasurer. And so, like, we were always in the same thing. Well, it came to be the senior year, our end of our junior year, and they were announcing. And as they led up to the announcing of who was going to be head Ballarat, I could tell she was competing with me. And it always did not sit right with me. Never. And they announced she got co-head and I got head, and she was mad at me. Like, there was like, I got one up on her. And so, like, it was always like that. And then after we graduated high school, I became an aerobic instructor. Well, then she wanted to be a aerobic instructor. And I can remember her competing with me about how many people were in my class versus her class. Like, it was constant. And it kind of wore me out. It kind of like, as I got older, my mom would sit me down and go, Judy, she is not your friend. And I'd be like, yes, she is. She's my best friend. And I can remember mom sitting me down telling me, like, your best friend doesn't compete with you. Your best friend wants you to win. You know what I mean? So, like, anyway, well, it got to be, she ended up becoming an aerobic instructor. Well, I became what was called a coordinator. So I worked for Gold's Gym, and I was the coordinator of all the aerobic instructors. So I was in charge of all the hiring of instructors, all the firing of instructors, teaching them how to do things correctly, making sure their certifications were up to date. Like, that was what I was in charge of. Next thing I know, she's gone to another gym to do the same thing. So it was like always like kind of follow me. But sometimes people say that when people are like that, that should be a compliment because they're wanting to be like you. And even in what I'm doing right now, oftentimes people come to my farm and they're like, I want to see what you're doing. And they want to mimic what I'm doing. And sometimes it bothers me, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, if you're down the street from me, it bothers me. But if you're a farm that's nowhere near me, then I'm cheering you on. But like, when you want to compete with me and you live down the street from me and you want to come to my farm to see what I'm doing, and the next thing you know, they're doing what I'm doing, that becomes a competition to me. But when you live nowhere near me and you're trying to mimic me, I'm going to tell you everything that I did to get where I am today because I want you to win too. But like, I can't have people, you know what I mean? So when people are by me and they're trying to mimic what I'm doing, that becomes competition to me. When you're doing everything that I'm doing, it becomes a competition. And it was the same thing with my best friend. When she was trying to do everything that I was doing, and she lives close to me, it was becoming a competition, and it was no longer a friendship. And I can remember that Gold's Gym was merging with her gym. So when the two gyms merged, there was going to be one coordinator, and there was me and there was her. And it started to get not good. And I started realizing that this person wasn't lifting me up. This person was actually pulling me down. So I began to separate myself from this person because I was feeling the competition. I had felt the competition all along, but I didn't want conflict. I'm not a fighter. I'll just surrender. Like I'm not a fighter, but it got to the point where I was like, this is not good. So I separated myself, and I separated myself for a long time. A long time. Well, this, I would say, I separated myself. Like it's not that I blocked her or anything. I just quit talking. I just went a separate way in my life with we just went our separate ways. It wasn't like we were in a fight. It's just that I had my life, she had her life. So I ran into her after I married Shane. It wasn't even the same place where we lived. It was in Fairhope, which is South Alabama, where Shane and we moved. When I married Shane, we lived in South Alabama. We were at a Mardi Gras parade in Fairhope. I ran into her as I was going to the bathroom, and Shane was not with me because Shane was at the parade, and I just ran to the bathroom real quick, and there she was with her and her husband and 2 kids. And I said, I live here now. And her husband and her said, I know you put your whole life on social media. I know everything that you do, like really rude. And suddenly I was having a flashback of what I went through with her in high school. And I sat there and I was nice as ever. And I was like listening to her make fun of me for social media. Because at this point, I didn't have a farm. Okay. Like I was on social media, but I don't remember what I was posting. Maybe it was about aerobics because I was the aerobic director. I say director. I wasn't a director. I started Stapleton Fitness in South Alabama. And so maybe I was posting about that. I'm not sure. Maybe I was posting about my kids being in college, our new marriage, or you know what? I think I know what I was posting. Shane and I bought a fixer-upper house. Like it was a piece of crap house, ceiling falling in, and we bought this house. So we were redoing this house. So I think that's what I was posting. I was posting on my personal page because Sneed's Farmhouse Sanctuary didn't even start at this time. But I was posting us redoing our house and the stages that we were going through. So I guess that's what she was talking about. And she began to make fun of me for posting on social media. And I realized it was almost as I could hear my mother going, you need to surround yourself with people that lift you up. And from that point on, I blocked her and I've never talked to her since. I was like, this is not who I need in my life. She brings me down. She's making fun of me. I've not seen her in 1,800 years, and she's making fun of me about my social media. So I took her off my social media and I blocked her, and I've not talked to her since. But she was pulling me down because she was competing with me. I've had other people in my life, friends that I thought were my best friends, and you probably can relate to me because there was people that you thought were your best friends and you hung out with them all the time. But when you left them, you didn't feel like they wanted you to win. They were competing with you, or they had a lot of issues. I had another friend, let's just say, and she had a terrible marriage. And when we got on the phone, I found myself, all I would do, she would bash her husband and I would bash my husband, Shane. Yeah, we'd sit there and talk about what POSs our husbands were because they were not meeting our needs. Okay. And I realized I would get off the phone and I would be so mad at Shane because I was like bashing him, and I would be so mad at him. And he would get home from work and I'd be so mad, and he'd be like, what's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? And it was because I was being reminded of these little stupid things that he did. And I was consuming myself and bashing him. Isn't that terrible? But when you're around people that, like, let's say that have a bad marriage, you find, because you know how, like, when you have conversations with people, like, they tell you a situation and then you tell them a situation that was like their situation. So, like, if they say, my husband did, I don't know, he was so rude. I went and got in the other bed because he made me so mad today and I was not sleeping with him. And then you find, oh yeah, I've done that before. He made me so mad. I went and slept in the guest bedroom or slept on the couch because I'm not putting up with his crap. You kind of find yourself when someone talks, you feel like you have to talk and you have to tell them a similar situation. Like if someone called me and said, like, I'm sitting here talking about my mental health, and if I talk to someone on the phone, they tell me about their mental health. It's kind of like you mimic the person that you're around. So, like, if I talk about recovery, when you talk to me, you talk about your recovery. But if I sit here on my live and, like, let's just say, bash Shane, let's just say, if you talk to me, you're going to say, yeah, I can relate. My husband did this. You kind of mimic the person that you're around, and you don't even realize you're doing it. You're just in conversation and you're just talking. It's like if somebody says, yeah, my kid is in high school and he's hanging around the wrong crowd. He's just drinking, and say my kids are 30 years old. I'm going, yeah, I remember when my kids were in high school. I remember they went through this. You find yourself constantly telling your side instead of, like, I think we feel like a conversation has to keep flowing. So like if Karen is telling me about what her kids were like in high school, and I just sat and listened and didn't say a word about my kids being in high school and what I went through, it's kind of like the conversation's not flowing. And then Karen is sitting there just throwing up at the mouth, saying all these crazy things that her kid did in high school. And I'm just sitting there. It's awkward. But if I get in the conversation and I start going, oh yeah, I remember when I was in high school, I went to parties and I was drinking too. So like, you know what I'm saying? But what if we did this? What if, let's just say Karen's bashing her husband, saying he does nothing around the house. He literally sits in his recliner while I cook, while I clean, and all he does is sit in the recliner. And then I'm sitting there listening to Karen say this. So instead of me saying, oh, I get you, Shane Steve's the same way. His butt's in the recliner and he's just expecting me to I'm feeding into her negativity of what she's doing. But what if I changed the conversation and said, what can you control? Karen's like, what? Karen, what can you control? Tell me what you can control. And suddenly I put up this boundary that is about wellness. And I don't feed into her bashing her husband. I put a stop to and go, Karen, what can you control? And all of a sudden, Karen doesn't like this boundary because she's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, okay, Karen, let me just tell you. Karen, I hope you're not mad at me for using your name. I know you don't care. So what if I said, Karen, you can't control your husband. You can't control what he does, but you can control the way you react to it. So what are some things, Karen, that you can do so that your husband doesn't drive you crazy when he's sitting in the recliner and you do all the cooking and then you do all the cleaning? What can you do to fix the problem? All of a sudden, Karen's like, I was just wanting to bash my husband. I just needed to vent. You see how you can put up a boundary? But see, what happens is when you get sucked in to bashing your husband, you find yourself bashing your husband. And then all of a sudden your husband walks into the door and you're like, he don't freaking do anything. He just sits on his sofa and goes to sleep. You find yourself mad at him because you've gotten consumed into this conversation of negativity. Okay, what if you surrounded yourself with people that you want to be like? In other words, you found marriages that were thriving. So instead of you having a best friend that's bashing her husband every time you get on the phone with her, what if you had somebody that was well and had recovery and go, you know what? My husband makes me mad too, but let's talk about what we can control. We can only control ourselves. So we can allow ourselves to be absolutely miserable that our husband's sitting on the couch, or we can kind of turn this situation down, break it down to figure out what's going on with him. Okay, what is going on with our husbands? Okay, well, if I had to talk about Shane, I'd be like, well, he got up at 5 o'clock this morning. He left the house at 5:30. He worked from 6 o'clock in the morning and didn't get home to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. He's tired. He's tired. He needs a minute. He needs to sit in the recliner because he needs a minute. He is where, yes, I could sit here and go, well, I work too. You think I don't work? I kill myself around here. But see, when I need a break, I can come inside my bedroom and shut the door for an hour and go, okay, animals have been fed. No one is at my farm. Larry is okay. Let me sit in my bedroom for an hour and just close my eyes and give him. Shane can't go into the closet at work and have a minute to himself. Shane is on the clock and will get fired. I'm not getting fired. So like my job of stress and his job of stress are totally different. So I have to be mindful of that. Okay? I have to be mindful what his day's like. I'm not in his shoes, but I can sit here and imagine what his day is like. Like it and I've learned, like, when it comes to cooking supper, I tell you, that's how Shane receives love. Shane receives love through his stomach. I'm telling you, I will be a rock star wife if I cook and have a dessert. He feels so loved by me when I do that. So I've learned, instead of it being a chore, like, oh my God, he's going to expect me to cook, I've learned to go, I need to show my husband love today. He's much nicer when I meet his needs. Okay, does that seem overwhelming? Sometimes, because I'm like, I need my needs met. But see, I had to learn how to meet my own needs and cater to his. Because when I meet my own needs, I don't need Shane to help me meet my needs. I have to sit here and go, how does Shane show me love? Okay, it isn't helping me cook in the kitchen and doing dishes. That's not how Shane shows me love. Shane shows me love because he says, hey, you stay home with your dad. I will provide for us. You take care of your stepdad. Tell me that ain't love. I will go provide for us. I will go kill myself and work 7 days a week. You stay home and you take care of your dad. Shane didn't tell me to go get this farm per se. I kind of did that on my own because I'm not a stay-at-home person. You see what I'm saying? I had to learn, like, I tell you, like, my birthday's coming up. Shane's not buying me a present. Okay? He's not. Shane's building me a hay barn. Do you know how much that cost? You know what I'm saying? Shane's not bringing home candy and flowers. Okay? Shane's not bringing home a gift card. Shane's building a whole daggum. As a matter of fact, this week he's headed to get I think it's called poles, and they're almost $1,000 to put in the concrete. So it's over $1,000. So Shane is going to go purchase these poles to build me a hay barn because we have nowhere to store our hay, and we're fixing to run out of hay. We have 4 rolls of hay left. They don't cut hay till June or July. I don't know what I'm going to do again. This is the second year I've ran out of hay, and I feel like I can't breathe because I have no hay. Yeah. So Shane, I had to go, because sometimes you like, well, that's not a birthday present. Listen, Shane is going to go get this wood, and Shane will build this hay barn by himself. So I have to look and go, wow, what woman gets that? Any farm girl that doesn't have a hay barn would be like partying naked over getting a hay barn that her husband's building. Like, I have to look at the big picture. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to surrounding yourself, even as an adult, because you think when you were a child and your mom says you need to you're hanging out with the wrong crowd. You need to hang out with people that are pointing you in the right direction. Maybe she didn't say those exact words, but she was saying, we got to get you in the right crowd. Let me get you in sports. Let me get you in whatever. You need to get away from this crowd that's a dead end. You need to surround yourself with people that you want to be like. She's still talking to you as an adult. Okay? If your mom's no longer here on earth, I am her voice. Okay? Even as an adult, we have to surround ourselves. Why is 2 people putting mad faces? I'm being a Lester. You have to surround yourself with people that lift you up and point you in the right direction, even as an adult. If you're bashing your husband, like if there's something that you need, say your husband's been a total butt, okay, and you just need to vent. If you are venting to someone that's going to point you in the right direction, she's going to say, okay, that really stinks that your husband said that. That really, really stinks. But let's talk about what you can do to fix this. That's the person that's going to point you in the right direction to help you be a better wife, even when your husband is a train wreck. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm sorry, I guess because I'm a woman, I say, if you're a man and sitting here listening, please know that I'm not trying to be just talk about men. If you're a man, men don't usually bash their women. Like, if it's bash, women are different from men. But if you're a man and you're listening to me, try to relate to me with your wife. So if you're like going, this is the only thing I can think that a man would say, because they're not, she don't cook. She don't cook. I don't even remember the last time she cooked. You know what I mean? So like, think about if your friend is ever going, oh yeah, my wife don't cook either. She's a POS. She don't put out. She don't cook. She doesn't clean the house. She's freaking worthless. Like, if you're a man that talks about your wife like that, imagine changing your words that you say about your wife and finding the things that she does right. My wife has stayed beside me for 35 years. My wife has never left me. My wife will do anything for our kids. I sit here and watch my wife with our grandkids, and oh my gosh, she keeps them during the week. She takes them to Disney World. She, like, whatever. Instead of focusing on the negative, replace it with what the person does right. And when you concentrate on what she does right and begin to compliment on what she does right, suddenly what she does wrong gets better. Instead of focusing on all what she does not do, oh my gosh, the laundry is up to here. Okay, if you broke it down and go, why is my wife not doing the laundry? Why is my wife not cooking? When you sit down and break it down and try to figure out why your wife is not cooking or putting out or whatever it is, when you sit down and break it down and you go, okay, what does she do during the day? And if you're the type that goes to work and you think, oh, all she does is sit home. She doesn't do crap. She doesn't do crap. That's negative. You got to figure out why she's so tired. Is it something medical? Is it something physical? Is it something emotional? Or is it something spiritual? And what can you do as a husband to lift her up to make her better? Your job is to be a partner with her. Your job is to lift her up and point her in the right direction. If all you're focusing on is everything that she doesn't do, you're going to continue to bring her down. And if you go and bash her to your friends, and your friends begin to participate in, my wife's a POS too. She ain't cooking. She ain't cooking. She ain't putting out. She didn't do nothing. She do nothing. You're going to find yourself getting more frustrated with what she's not doing. That's what you're going to find yourself doing, because you're not surrounding yourself with a man or a husband that points you in the right direction. That person is just going to consume you and let you know, my wife does the same thing. She don't do any of it. She doesn't. I can't even tell you the last time she cooked a dinner. What gave me a little bit of attention in the bedroom? Oh, no, she ain't doing that. If you find yourself surrounding yourself with people that are not going, okay, what if you're a man, and let's just say you're like, my wife doesn't put out. And I know this is personal. I talk about stuff that's uncomfortable. I do. If you're sitting here going, my wife shows me zero attention in the bedroom, you need to break it down. Instead of just going to your friends and going, my wife doesn't put out, you need, husband, you need to break it down and go, what is going on with my wife? Why is she not showing me any attention? What is it? Is she tired? Is she not getting mentally fed by positive things? Has she not surrounded herself with good people? Is she got a lot of stress in her life that she doesn't know how to deal with? How can you as a spouse put your arms around your wife and go, I see what's going on with you. You're stressed. Instead of going, she ain't putting out. What if you went and put your arms around her and go, let me just hold you. I'm going to take you out for a date. When you begin to do stuff, girls and boys are wired differently, right? A man is all sexual. A woman is all emotional. A woman is about feelings, okay? A man is not. So if you're a man trying to get your wife to be different and you don't break it down and you harp on her, you don't ever give me any attention. You don't cook in the kitchen. You don't do this. You're just pulling her down. You're pulling her down and you're making her completely worse. Girls, tell them, am I not correct? If you're a man, you need to listen to us women. We will tell you what we need. But if you're the man that is concentrating on the stuff that's negative, and then you're going to your friends and telling them, and then they're feeding you the same crap, then you're going to find yourself really not liking your wife. But if you complain to your best friend and then he looks at you and says, what can you do to fix it? What are you doing that's causing her not to want to be intimate with you? If your best friend said that, you're like, what? You're talking to someone that's well. When you talk to someone that's not well, they're just going to feed in and go, oh, yeah, my wife too. She don't put out, she's dried up. She's old and dried up. You know what I'm saying? They're going to do that. But when you surround yourself with someone that's well, they're going to help you focus on what you can do, not what your wife can fix. They're going to go, what can you do different to make your wife fall in love with you again and want to be with you physically? What can you do? Girls are romantic, right? So if you go into the house and you say, instead of you cooking, let me take you to dinner. Okay? It may be that you have to be romantic and you get nothing in return for a while because she's like, what does he want? He wants to take me to dinner. He must want something, because our mind works. But if you consistently be well in your marriage and be strong in your marriage and treat your wife the way she needs to be treated, you will be surprised at what you'll get in return. You're going to get a well wife in return when you stay well as a spouse and continue to be well, continue therapy, continue working on the things you need to. When you continue to work on the things that you can do to be a better husband, you'll be surprised at how well your wife is. Because I was talking to my cousin today, and we were talking about surrounding yourself with people that lift you up. Okay. You think that the people you're hanging out with doesn't affect you as an adult because you're like, well, I'm not a child. I can make decisions for myself. Like they don't influence me. I am an adult. You think that. But see, I was talking to her and I got up at 5:30 this morning and she was sleeping on my couch and she was like, who are you? And I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, you're not the same person I know. Why are you up at 5:30 in the morning, Judy? And I'm like, I do it every morning. Why? See, if you think, because we were talking about this, Shane is a morning person. Okay. I have been with Shane. I have been married to Shane for almost 7 years. It'll be 7 years in June. Because I have been surrounded by someone for 7 years that gets up at 5 o'clock every morning, 7 days a week. And when I tell you he gets up, he ain't quiet. He gets up and gets dressed, shoes, everything at 5 o'clock in the morning. And at first, I was wanting to hit him in the head with a hammer. I was like, he's not right. Something's wrong with him. But see, I had been around him for so long that I just got on his schedule. Not meaning to get on his schedule, but all of a sudden, I've become a morning person because I'm surrounded by someone that gets up at 5 o'clock every morning. If something happened to Shane, God forbid that it doesn't, if something happened to Shane, it would not surprise me if I got back in my old routine where I did not get up at 5:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. But I'm mimicking him because I'm around him. He's mimicking me. My cousin ended up getting up at 5:30 in the morning this morning, having a cup of coffee with me. And she was like, why am I doing this? I'm like, she's doing what I'm doing. So she is not a 5 o'clock, 5:30 a.m., but she's here with me and she's just falling in line with me. And she was like, I cannot believe that I am up at 5 o'clock in the morning sitting here having a conversation because I do not do this. But she surrounded herself by me and Shane. And if she lived with us, she would probably get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And if she didn't, she's going to sit and feel guilty because me and Shane are going to have everything done by 7 o'clock. And she's just now getting up, having coffee. And she's going to go, what have y'all done? Y'all have done all this before 7 o'clock? Because you're going to find yourself Even as an adult, you are who you surround yourself with. If you're around a bunch of people, marriages that are cheating on each other, that are bashing each other behind their back, you're going to end up doing the same thing. I am your mother that's not here on earth that's talking to you as a child. Surround yourself with marriages that you want to be like. Do you hear me? When you're surrounding yourself with dysfunctional marriages, now are marriages perfect? No, no. But you know the marriages you want to be like. You know, like for example, if you're financially broke, okay? If you're a person that is financially broke and you've been broke your whole life, if you go surround yourself with people that are successful and you begin to watch what they're doing and watch that they're not spending money like crazy, they're making investments, they're making wise decisions. Maybe they're eating at home and not eating out. Maybe they don't go on elaborate vacations because they save or whatever. You're going to find yourself getting out of financial debt because you're surrounding yourself with people that are successful. Now, I'm not saying that success is always about money, because it's not. But when you surround yourself with people that you want to be like, you suddenly start mimicking them. If you're going out to eat with someone that's been married for 60 years, let's just say, you find yourself going, how have y'all been married for 60 years? Tell us the secret, because he gets on my nerves. And suddenly that woman or that man, girl, if you're the makeup person and this drives you crazy, if you'll send me a new makeup brush or send me what I'm supposed to do to clean it, I'll be glad to. You'll find yourself mimicking the people that you are around. It's the same thing if you are an elderly person and you find yourself complaining about hurting every day. You call your friends and you're like, oh, dear Jesus, my back hurts. I got to go to this doctor, this doctor, this doctor, this doctor, and this doctor. And you just complain. The person that's with you, that you're talking to, they're going to go, girl, I get you. I got to go to this doctor. Getting old sucks. And you begin to just like get on the negative train. What if the person that you were talking to goes, tell me what's good that's going on in your life? And you're like, dude, I was just calling to complain about my doctor's visits and my back hurting. And if they go, tell me you woke up this morning, that's positive. And there's this guy, I'm going to say his name. I don't think he watches my live, but I call him Judge Pate. Okay. He is a person that came to my farm. I did not know him before he toured my farm. And me and his family have become good friends. And he is somebody that I look up to. He was a judge here in Alabama. He's a lawyer, judge, whatever. And I respect him 100% because he knows Larry, my dad, as a child. And he actually took Larry to radiation 2 times to help me out. And I found myself constantly complaining. And he is that person that I'm talking about. He will stop me dead in my tracks and go, what tools do you have in your pocket to pull out to deal with Larry? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about that. I just want to complain. I don't talk positive. I just want to complain. And he'll go, tell me what you're going to do to take care of yourself. And the second he sets a boundary with me and makes me think about the positive, I suddenly realize I'm negative Nancy and I'm concentrating on all the negative because I'm caught up in a moment that's terrible. But when I surround myself with people like Judge Pate that makes me think about the good things, it reminds me that it's not so bad after all. Hang on. That is people that I want to be around. Now, there are times that you do need to vent. And I think that's when you say, I need 10 minutes to tell you everything that's going on in my life that's negative. But you don't have to leave on a negative note. You can say, okay, my life sucks. My tortoise tore up my house. Shane pissed me off this weekend so bad that I wanted to scream. I wanted to run like Forrest Gump. Whatever. You can see here and just, my dad has cancer. He's on hospice, blah, 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 all this negative stuff. And then end it with, okay, let me tell you what I can control. I want you to try this. When you find yourself needing to vent, and then end it with this. Okay, let me tell you what I can control. I can control the way I deal with this. I can control my actions and how I view this situation. So let me tell you what I'm going to do today to take care of myself. Today, I am going to walk to the creek and I'm going to do a little bit of meditation. I'm going to take 30 minutes today and spend with myself and God and begin to find the things that I'm grateful for, because there's a lot of good things happening in my life. And instead of me focusing on all this negative crap that's going on in my life, I'm going to walk to the creek and I'm going to tell God the things that I'm grateful for, because there is so much good going on in my life. In the middle of this total chaos, it's hard for me to see all the good that's going on in my life because I'm focusing on all the negative. But if I sit here and just break this down for a minute, I got a lot of good things going on in my life. So let me tell you, let me end with the good things. Number one, wow, my farm is really growing. I'm really taking each day to try to focus on the things that I'm grateful for. Instead of me focusing on all the negative, I'm trying to get up and dance and make a difference in people's lives by doing A, B, and C. I don't know. By getting up, going live in the mornings, by being consistent, by showing up every Monday and Wednesday to tell all the crap that's going on in my life and to remind people to dance and not focus on the negative. Those are things I'm grateful for. I can remember the day that was just 3 people on here live. I bet there was 3 people live for a year. And I didn't even care. Like, me and Diane and Tammy were BFF. I did not care that it was just us. I did not. I just was being Judy. And I gave up several times, and Diane and Tammy would text me and go, please, Judy, go live. And I'm like, I feel beat up. I don't like this. Judy, you're helping me. And I'm like, okay, I'm helping these 2 people. I'll go live again. I just kept doing it because Diane and Tammy kept showing up, so I kept showing up. And then today, there's all these people on here live that are talking to each other, making a difference. It ain't like it's just me making a difference. It's all of us. We're all learning to dance. Every single one of us, because we all don't feel good. Come on, we all don't feel good. Something in our body hurts. Somebody in our life is being mean to us. Someone is not speaking to us. Like, something is happening if I sit here and said, who is not speaking to you in your family? Probably every single one of y'all would have my brother hates me. My mother is a BI. What you would sit here and tell me somebody in your family that is rude and ugly and hates you. Every one of us deal with it. It's not like it's just me. It's all of us. But see, when we sit here and focus on the people that are not speaking to us, Let's focus on the people that influence us to dance. Let's focus on the positive and surround ourselves with people that lift you up, because there's people that love you. There's people that see nothing but the good in you. And those people are the people that you need to surround yourself with, because they're going to point you in the right direction. If you have that friend that is, you've got to understand, not everyone is well. Okay? Not everyone is well. Not everyone understands, including myself, because I fall into the category too. Sometimes people call me and start bashing their husband, and then I go, oh yeah, I get you. But when you stand and go, let them vent, and then go, okay, let's talk about you. Let's talk about you. Those are people that are well. I'm practicing being well. I'm not well. I don't do it every time. I don't. I'm not perfect. I make so many mistakes. Sometimes when Kayla's here, I find myself venting to her, and then I'm like, oh, shoot. I'm just griping away. I'm just griping away. I have to stop and go, wait a minute, let me figure out what I can control. All I can control is myself. And Kayla is getting where she's well, and she reminds me. She'll say, like, if I'm griping about something in my family, she'll stop and go, okay, let's stop. Judy, you need to break it down. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to break it down. Sometimes we need to be reminded. It's not like we stay well all the time. We have trauma in our life, and we go back to that trauma often, and we get sick again. But the good thing is, when you get well, you don't stay sick. You get triggered. You have your moment, and then you're like, okay, what is going on with me? Let me break this down and figure out what the crap is wrong with me. We don't stay sick. And I want you to start recognizing when your friends or family start calling you and they start being really negative. What if you're the well person and go, okay, let's talk about the things you can control? That person on the other end of the phone is going to go, is this Karen? Who is this? And you're like, yes, it's me. But let me just tell you, I've learned how to dance, and I want to hold your hand and teach you as well. So your husband is a straight up POS. Okay. Yeah, he is. Like, I agree with you. But let's talk about the things you can control. Tell me the 3 things that you can control. And that person on the other line is going, Karen, I need you to bash your husband with me. You know what I'm saying? But if you start being well and hold people's hand and surround yourself with people that you want to be like, suddenly you're going to start seeing your attitude change. Because you're going to have friends like Judge Pate that's going to remind you what tools you have in your pocket to pick out when you're going through crap with your parents. I'm like, oh yeah, I was just complaining. And it's not that person doesn't want me to complain. Okay, you got 10 minutes. Let's Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes for Judy to complain. Okay, Judge Pate, let me just sit here and complain for 10 minutes. Can you just listen to me? And complain for 10 minutes. And when your time is up, go, okay, now let me focus on the things that I can control. All right. The things I can control is the way I deal with this situation, and start focusing on what you can control. You can control who you hang out with. If you continue to hang out with the marriages that are a train wreck, your marriage is going to be a train wreck. But see, you can't let jealousy get in the way and go, I wish my husband was like Mary's. Mary's husband is in love with her. He's romantic. He cooks. He takes her to dinner. He takes her on vacations. My husband's a POS and just sits in the recliner and doesn't do crap. Don't get in that jealousy. focus on what you can control. Instead of focusing on Mary's husband, focus on what Mary does. Because Mary has to be really well, probably, to keep her husband well. So you focus on surrounding yourself with women that you are marriages you want to be like, and focus on those wives that are well. Because when you focus on surrounding yourself with the wives that are not well, you're not going to be well. Because it's hard for, even though you're well and you start surrounding yourself with people that are not well, they're going to pull you down. And understand that well does not mean perfect. Well does not mean perfect. Do you hear me? Well, it does not mean perfect. Well is trigger, train wreck, but you recover and you don't stay a train wreck. Like, my kid is doing something, let's just say your kid is doing something that is breaking your heart. And you're like, this sucks. It is consuming me. I can't sleep. I can't think. I can't. But see, you can't fix your kid. If you could, you'd have done it a long time ago. You'd have put a Band-Aid on that boo-boo way before now. But you can't fix that kid. The best thing you can do for your kid is you be well. That is the best thing that you can do for your children. Your adult children is for their mom to be well. Because believe it or not, they're going to watch. They're going to watch mom not be a train wreck or dad not be a train wreck and dad be well and mom be well. And when your kid comes to you and like is a train wreck and you go, let's break this down. What is going on with you? Think what has happened in the past month that's making you feel the way you're feeling. Break it down with them. Hold their hand and go, let's talk about it. You know, maybe you got triggered. Figure out what your triggers are. You know, tell your kid to write down everything they hate about themselves. You know, but that doesn't mean they're going to do it. The best thing you can do is you write down what you hate about your, like, I hate that I cannot fix and put a Band-Aid over this kid's boo-boo. Like, I hate it. To me, parenting adult children is harder than parenting a 2-year-old. Because you can't spank them. You can't ground them. You can't take their cell phone away. You can't do anything. It's awful. The best thing you can do as a parent is fix you. You begin to write down all the things you hate about yourself. Because mom and dad being well is the best thing for a child. I say a child, an adult child. They're watching. They're watching. I promise you. I'm almost off.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You're fine. That's my cousin. So I hope that I said something that relates to you. You have got, and if you're a parent of adult children and you're struggling, you need to surround yourself with people that point you in the right direction, that let you vent, but then go, okay, tell me what you can control. And I have to tell you something. When that was first said to me, I was pissed. I was so mad. I was so mad. But once you start surrounding yourself and start getting well and start breaking things down, you're not going to get mad anymore. You're going to be that person that goes, let's break it down. And the person that you're telling to break it down to may be mad because they don't know what boundaries are. When you start setting boundaries for people, they don't like boundaries when you've never set them before. They don't. They don't know what they are. What time? Oh, I've got to go take Larry. Larry has to go to the eye doctor at 9 o'clock this morning. So I've got my hands full today. This is as good as it gets. Okay. Today is Wednesday. Today is hump day. Today you can make a difference, not in someone else's life per se, but I want you to make a difference in your own life. This follower sent me this sign that she put up. It's one of those that you put words in or letters in and make words, and it's a sign. It's so sweet. She had April, and she had my birth date, which she had my day wrong. My birthday is April 27th, not 25th. She had my birthday, and then she had I hope you dance at the bottom and be happy, smile. And it meant a lot to me because it meant that someone was actually listening to me. You know, sometimes I go live and I'm like, is anybody listening to me, or am I just talking to myself? Like, sometimes you say that to yourself. But you know what matters is if one person listened to me. If I make a difference in one person's life, then I've done my job, is the way I look at it. So I hope today that when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. By dancing is surrounding yourself with people that you want to be like. That doesn't mean cutting everyone off that's not like you or whatever, but you're going to start noticing the people that are well and not well. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of people that are not well. But see, you can hold their hand. You can be Aunt Judy. You can be Aunt Judy, and you can say, I've learned how to dance. And dancing is focusing on the things that we can control. I've changed my life because I no longer focus on my husband sitting his butt on the recliner while I cook. I focus on the things that I can control, which is my attitude towards that. I've learned to distract myself. By distracting myself, I go clean out a closet or take the dog for a walk. Those are things that I do to learn how to dance. I no longer pull my happiness from a human being, because when you pull your happiness from a human being, you're headed for a dead end. And you tell that person that, and they're going to go, it may take them a minute. It did me. But keep being the positive person that you are. Surround yourself with happiness, and you'll dance. I'll see you this week. Maybe Dee Dee will have her baby today, but was that not hilarious that she pooped and I thought she was in labor? And I said April Fools. I go back and watch that and laugh my head off at Dee. She got us good for April Fools. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I was live. So go back and watch my live. I love y'all. Bye.